we join masterminds in business because we need that accountability and because we don't have all the answers and we recognize that. So why would we not make the same investment into our marriage? It doesn't make any sense to me. And by the way, I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm sharing with those of you listening, because I've been there. And, Natalie and I think, have gone through this process one time, and we didn't have the benefit of this resource, this workbook, until recently. So it's just interesting to me, Steve, how those of us that are listening to podcasts like this, we're willing to put our money and our time into our business, but are we willing to put that same level of effort, energy, attention on our marriage, on our relationships?
It's an incredible point that you just made right there, because that is all too often the case. Going and talking about business is easy. People find it difficult to go and talk about their marriage or the challenges or the struggles that they have. And, I've been so grateful. I mean, within your coaching group and within the coaching that I have done, we've created an atmosphere where we can not only help people with business, but we can help them in their relationships, and we can challenge them in this area of marriage. But to your point, we're willing to invest into our business. We're willing to educate ourselves. We're willing to learn how to fix a problem. We're willing to automate and put different things in place to make the business better. We need to put that same emphasis on our marriages. And to the point that you made, I 100% agree. In fact, we recommend that this be an annual thing at a minimum that people do. And simply because things are always changing. If you have children, your parenting plan today, I promise you, will be different a year from now. One of the things that I've been helping you to navigate over the course of the last few years is the parenting part of marriage. And it changes. There are different phases. And I'm at a phase in my life right now where my 3 teenage boys, my schedule really isn't my schedule anymore. I mean, I'm so fortunate that I have, built a business and have created a vision that allows me to be available and flexible, but that availability and flexibility is absorbed by them. I mean, my schedule is this game, get them to this practice, get them to this game, and I'm loving life. I am so grateful that I have that available to be there for them and to nurture them, to nurture their gifts, and to be able to drop them off at school and pick them up from school, and to participate in their extracurriculars and to show up at every game. And but the way that my parenting looked 3 or 4 years ago was different than it is today, and technology throws in some different things that we have to deal with. And so continuously coming back and revisiting it is important. And I tell people all the time that for the next, I have 8 summers left with my youngest, and I have only 3 summers left with my oldest boy who's at home. And man, I want to make the most of that time. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to be working so much that we don't get to make the most of the time that we have. And the phrase that people hear me say all the time is, you know what, in 8 years, I'm going to have all the time in the world to build a business, because I'm going to have nothing else to do once they're gone. But, that's the time when I should, as my time frees up. But, for now, what's important to me is being a father, being a husband, and doing the best that I can do at home. I have a business that allows me to do that. It serves us well. It provides more than what we need. And if I want to build a really big business, I can do that later. I'm going to have tons of time to be able to do that. But, right now I just get to pull the levers, tweak the business, make sure it's continuing to provide for us. And I don't have to get too busy, but I can be available and live out not just my business vision, but also experience the life that it was, the business was designed to let me experience.
Oftentimes it's easy to talk about business and KPIs and how do we increase revenue and how do we do this and that, but it's hard to sit down with your spouse and say, hey, here's what I'm feeling. Here's what I'm going through. Here are some of my challenges, and have that heart to heart. I find that many people, especially men, want to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but they want to avoid that. They kind of want to push it away. They don't want to talk about those things. And I think that's important. It's communication is one of those things that Whenever there's challenge in a marriage, in my experience, we've been married 7 years now, it usually boils down to a breakdown in communication.
It's almost 100% almost always communication, and that's where one of the primary emphasis that we put in here is to help people communicate about many things that they never communicated about before. But I also really talk about communicating and understanding one another.